Okay, all right, so this is video 2, so we're going to pick up where we left off. So what we need to do here is cut off these test bits, right? So I'm going to cut off the test bits. I'm going to take everything back to 0, which matter of fact, let's do this. Let's say, let's actually come in here and use test bit. Let's put this here and let's use a clear. So let's come in here and actually use a clear. And sometimes I type it, so just you know, plan on doing that. That's fine. You can put the basically you want to clear the position, or you want to clear the length. So in this case, we want to clear the position. So we'll do that real quick. And we'll just come in here and clear the position like they're empty. So that's what we're going to be using our test bit for, right? Let's call that test bit 1, because we're not going to use it anywhere else. Okay, so what I want to do is actually show you the primary method that most people do this. Is they come in and they use both of these together. And I almost used the wrong bit. They use both of these together. And we'll leave that there for now and delete this one. So we'll leave that there for now. The test bit, even though I'm not going to use it, what I want to actually do is add in a rung with a no operation. Again, the no operation means there's no operam. There's nothing that it's actually controlling. So therefore the instruction or the software knows it's fine to do that. Else, if you just try to throw a bunch of stuff in here, it wouldn't do it. So what we'll do is we're not actually going to do any moves, but we're going to show it. So we're going to actually just grab a couple moves and come down and throw them in here. And what I'm trying to do is basically show you the arrays. I want to show all the arrays. So in this case, just keep populating them. And you're probably asking to yourself right now, why am I using a bunch of moves? Because they're still going to index in, or they're still going to move into each other. Well, they're not the way I'm going to do things. And you'll see that in just a second. Just a second. So get a couple more. Again, let's put these on the back side. Okay, so this is 7. This is 8. And we probably won't get all of them, but I at least want to show you the data transitioning. And let's do that. Let's just do 11. And let's do, what's the other tag? The unload destination. So what I want to actually be cautious of and show right off the bat is I want to actually show you the unwind destination right beside the 0 of the array. So right here, to stop all the moves from happening, we are basically just going to have a AFI. We're going to add in a rung comment to say this rung is just for troubleshooting only and not acting as moves. And I always like to kind of like index highlighted or whatever, you know, just it tends to get people's attention more. That's just my way of doing things. Even then, you know, whatever you wanted to do. But I think it stands out more, you know, if you write that and then you put a little note around it or a little box around it, it kind of stands out more. Okay, so with that said, you plainly see that if I go toggle this bit right now, of course it's 0, it's going to 0 itself out, that it's going to actually load in some data. So what we can do, and let's do that as well. Let's come in here and do another one of these. Copy and then paste and then bring that down into there, and let's clear. Oh, come on. There you go. Yeah, it's not gonna let me do that. So I guess we could move a bunch of zeros in it, but let's just clear the first one. That's fine. And what I want to do here is actually come back and say, well, this is at 0 now, right? So this is going to constantly, like if what we had test 2 in there before. So let's use test 2, that way it separates and I don't have to toggle down here. So if I toggle this right now, you kind of get the drift behind that. See, that's a 0, so the 0 is in there right now. Okay, so if I actually toggle this right now, it's just going to steady like feed in and feed out data. It's not actually going to transition because it's not actually going 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, you know, counting all the way to 20. So in that instance, it's actually indexing only 1. It's loading in 0 and unloading 0. It's loading in 0 and unloading 0. If you see that right here, that's the reason I put the unload right there as far as the unload destination, because 0 is actually loading into there. So I wanted to show you that for a reason. So what we should do here is, before we do an unload, is we should compare it, and we should say equal to or greater than, and then we should look at the position, and we should say that if the position is equal to or greater than 20, then we definitely want to start unloading. So in this case, we're going to start loading, and you see data transitioning, and then when it hits 20, it's going to start unloading. So if you watch that again, we're going to actually delete or erase that, and we'll erase this. Matter of fact, let's throw zeros in all this so that you can see the data flowing, because I know watching the video it's probably hard to see, and I want to give you the best example that I possibly can, because obviously you're probably getting the drift of what's happening here. So, but I just wanted to make sure that it's a closed loop and it's good. So what's going to happen again is it's going to fill up the array first, and then when it hits the point of 20, then it's going to actually start unloading. I'll show you that as far as that goes. You won't see anything in the unload until it hits 20. So until this hits 20. So you see that? It loaded everything in, and now it loaded everything in so quickly that, again, this is the scan time of the processor, how fast it loaded itself in there. So now as it's doing that, it's going to actually load and unload, load and unload. So you can have it just as fast and as you wanted to have a system working. Generally speaking, though, you're not going to do that. You're not going to actually have it unload. What we end up doing often is we'll have one scenario that toggles, and it will load and unload. And what I mean by that is that one shot that we had in here. See that one shot, and I think we called it ons. And we'll just use 2 for that example. So it's just going to do it once. So generally we have it indexing once. So let's clear this out. And again, let's go through and clear the data. So that way you get exactly what's happening. Okay, so as it's running, I'm going to toggle it. Okay, so now we have 1 in there, right? We have a count of 1. Okay, so now we have a count of 2. Okay, so now we're just steady going down. And that must have just fell on a 0. But you see nothing's coming in to unload right now because it's actually not triggering the unload, because again, it has not hit the point of where the position is equal to or greater than the 20. Okay, so we'll keep doing that until, and I know that actually seeing that, or keep having to do that, is let's actually take this and just hit toggle a couple times instead of hearing the mouse click. Okay, so it's 18, 19. Okay, so now it should actually start. Okay, so this is going to actually start loading, unloading, and start transitioning. So you see that actually working, and all I'm doing again is basically Control T is toggling instead of hearing the mouse click. I know that was kind of annoying, probably on your end. So that's one way to go about it. Again, so how I do things is, say for instance I had like if I were to use it in a scenario, I would do an average or something. Basically just kind of, just basically dividing it by itself. Or I would take what is in here, and divide it basically by, there's 20 elements, and then I would and that would be my sum of whatever I had, right? And it doesn't make any sense to do that really with a timer, a free running timer, because none of this is going to be the same. You see the numbers are kind of everywhere. I just wanted to show you that, I would just come in here and either that or, some other math function to average something out. Not really, anything other than that. So, now again, we can take all this stuff out and just let it free run if we wanted to. And that would be, again, the rate of the scan. So the processor is just scanning right now. It's going through, and if I come in here and reset that, then it's going to be a 0, and then it's not going to move any data until it hits 20. So it's pretty apparent when you do it like that. It doesn't move any data whatsoever until it hits 20, and then it starts moving data. So hopefully that kind of cleared up the or any unanswered questions in the last video as far as the first in first out load unload, which is of course the FiFO load and unload. This is just a scenario that I like to use and I do scenarios like this down here to show the data, or show show exactly what's happening so that you can understand it and I can understand it. And I do this during my programming troubleshooting as well too. And I'll come back in the end and just delete that wrong. So hopefully that was that would kind of clear up the issue as far as the FiFO itself. If you do want to see anything else or see anything more with a FiFO, just please let me know. Comment below, and I'll be glad to revisit this a little bit and maybe give a couple live examples, and that maybe show you that. Actually, I do have I have a couple live examples, but I will say that they won't be running processors. They'll just be a program that's already running it. So I'll have to show you that and explain it to you. So if you do have an interest in seeing that, just email, or not email, but message me below, and I'll be glad to do that. Okay, well, hopefully that was helpful, and everybody's doing all right. So thanks again for the support.